Hi everyone, I'd like to start by saying a huge thank you to everybody who gave such positive feedback on my last two videos about my disassociation letter. I really did find a lot of the comments not only positive and encouraging but actually very helpful, and I am appreciative of this. Today I'd like to give you just a little bit more of the backstory to that, and I've wrote my comments down so that I don't end up waffling too much, because I could be prone to going off on a tangent. So when I wrote my letter, it was addressed to the congregation members to fill them in on where I'm at, but also to give them a little of the backstory of what had been going on in our local congregation, which they probably wasn't aware of. In fact, the main reason for uploading onto YouTube was to reach all those within my circuit whom I couldn't personally deliver a letter to. I used my WhatsApp status to let everyone on my contacts list know that should they want to hear my letter, that they could do so. But seeing as many of you out there that don't know me have viewed, liked and commented, I'd like to fill you in a little bit more. So, following his arrest by and confession to the police, our local paedophile was ultimately disfellowshipped. Obviously, very few were in the know as to the reason why, but there seemed no doubt to others that matters involving this brother had been handled according to Bible principles. However, something that had never crossed my mind before watching the Australian Royal Commission was that if child sexual abuse gets reported to the elders, not to the police, and they follow up by disfellowshipping the perpetrator, their conscience will evidently feel clear because they're keeping the congregation clean. But really, how can they sleep at night knowing that a paedophile is now on the loose in the community, with no one monitoring him or warning others about him? Really, does this show love of neighbour? I don't think so. JWs make a conscious effort to contact all within their territory so that they can direct them to this organisation, yet when they know of a danger present within the community, i.e. a paedophile, they keep quiet under the guise of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, which talks about a time to keep quiet. Also, after a period of time has gone by, it's likely that if he or she makes the right moves, they'll be reinstated back into the congregation. This opens another area of concern because it is not made known to families with children automatically that there is a paedophile within the close-knit congregation. Now, I've got here a copy of the Child Safeguarding Policy of Jehovah's Witnesses in the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland. And I'd just like to read to you point 17. It says, a person who has been found either by a congregational judicial committee or the secular authorities to have engaged in child sexual abuse might be a member of the congregation. In all such cases, restrictions will be imposed on the individual's activities within the congregation, his participation in the public ministry, and his interaction with children for the protection of children. In particular, the individual will be specifically prohibited and admonished from being alone in the company of children, cultivating friendships with children, or displaying any affection for children other than his own when he is legally entitled to do so. In some cases, the service department may specifically direct elders to inform parents of minors within the congregation of the need to monitor their children's interaction with an individual who has engaged in child sexual abuse. So notice that the onus is put on the abuser himself to refrain from being alone with a child, and that only in some cases will parents of minors be informed of the need to monitor their children's interactions with such ones. What if a predator doesn't take on board the counsel and prohibition from interacting with youngsters, but not within the sight of the elders? Jehovah's Witnesses spend time together a lot more than just at the meetings and at set field ministry groups, as they are encouraged to do so. And on what basis would the branch determine that no one needs to know to be informed in On what basis would the branch determine that no one needs to be informed locally? Don't they recognise that it is in fact very rare for a paedophile not to reoffend, even if they want to change? It might be just me, and feel free to comment, but doesn't it make sense that if someone is repentant and desires reinstatement into the congregation after abusing a minor, part of the manifestation of repentance would be that he or she is in agreement that parents of minors should be informed of their past, and that as a consequence of such an act it may be that others may choose to keep their distance from them. Another area of concern was in point 16. That reads, a person who has engaged in child sexual abuse does not qualify to receive any privileges or to serve in a position of trust or responsibility in the congregation for many years, if ever. Why doesn't it just say never qualifies? This policy, on the surface, really appears to address this whole issue quite well. But as I've highlighted, this is a carefully worded document which, in my view, disguises an agenda of protecting the image of the organisation as an effort to protect children. Unfortunately, it seems that most JWs are burying their heads in the sand when it comes to this subject. I agree, it is a disturbing, heart-wrenching subject to contemplate. Nevertheless, Jesus' own example of compassion and empathy means that as Christians, we can't turn our backs on the plight of others, particularly those as vulnerable as children. Come on, Jehovah's Witnesses, wake up. Your organisation is not Christian.